Hello. Oh. Check out the sweet giant PCBWay cup. Okay. Hello everyone. We got a lot to do, so I'm gonna get started. Hey Ian, are you yeah, you are, I never said your name out loud. Pulpo? Let me checking something. Yes. Yes, you are. Hello. Okay, so today we're going to be building something. This, the PicoGUS, yeah. Hey, Josh. So this, a little part of the stream is going to be sort of sponsored by PCBWay. I'm sponsored by PCBWay. They graciously provide me with PCBs for DIY projects and things. If you don't know who I am, if this is the first of my videos you've ever watched, I used to make a lot of news videos for retro gaming consoles. I would constantly kind of sift through projects on Twitter and tell people about them, and most of those were open source projects. And if you don't know, what does open source mean, or what is the implication of open source? Well, that means that if you want to, you can build one yourself. And sometimes, at least in my case, usually that ends up being cheaper if you have the skill. So usually DIY projects, open source DIY projects, there's a lot of soldering involved, a little bit of technical knowledge of how to order the PCBs, how to order the bill of materials and stuff. We're not going to cover everything today, but I just want you to know that I like to find new open source projects and share them with people. Yeah, yeah. The DigiKey box, yeah, DigiKey is awesome. Mouser's okay too. So, yeah, okay. So, before we get started, so what is this? If you're used to my videos, I do a lot of retro game console stuff, but more recently I've been kind of digging into retro computing, and even that is like, retro computer stuff is as wide. There's as much different types of different eras of computers, different parts that you can swap around and things. So that in itself is like a rabbit hole, and I kind of fell into it. I am a sort of a computer native, not native, but we had our first family computer in probably around 95 or 96. So I was 5 or 6 when I first had a computer. So I've been around this vintage, 95-ish vintage of computer before, and I kind of recently got back into it. I bought way back when my parents, we recycled, not way back when, it must have been maybe 10, 15 years ago. My parents, we recycled the old computers that we had because they were just kind of sitting around. So I recently went and rebought the Gateway 2000, as close as I could to that computer. So I've got this nice Gateway that I hope we can use this PicoGUS card in. But why PicoGUS? Well, why this project and why the GUS? Well, GUS is short for Gravis Ultrasound. Gravis Ultrasound is probably one of the big known names of sound card for this era, DOS gaming, Windows gaming. So like Sound Blaster. I guess you can kind of get funky with MIDI stuff, general MIDI and wavetable stuff, but Gravis Ultrasound and AdLib, those are like the three sort of big ones. And if you don't know, I've been Googling stuff kind of all over the place. I tried looking for a Gravis Ultrasound on eBay. The whole list of rabbit holes. It's a money sink for sure. I don't mind it right now. I'm kind of figuring things out. I've spent the last maybe 3 or 4, since about 2017, I've gotten into modding, like hardware modding retro consoles and things. So I have no idea about most projects. I do watch LGR a good bit, so that's how I found, actually, and Adrian's Digital Basement. I think that's how I found the PicoGUS. But okay, so why PicoGUS instead of buying a legit Gravis Ultrasound card, like a vintage one? Well, as you can see from the eBay, you know, the prices are kind of unhinged. This first thing here is a Gravis Ultrasound replica of this plug-and-play version of the Gravis Ultrasound, and that is, I just discovered this not half hour ago. This guy David's Electronics, who has a bunch of different cards, not a bunch, but some replica cards that use the original chips, some of the original chips. So it's very interesting, but like if you wanted to, like, that's probably the cheapest entry point other than the PicoGUS are these replicas, and I don't even know if they're going to be 100%. So like I don't have a GUS myself, like a real GUS. Maybe somewhere along the line somebody might let me borrow one. Just I would like to do comparisons, because that's part of the problem is this PicoGUS card is it uses a Raspberry Pi or RP2040, the newer Raspberry Pi microcontroller, to emulate the Gravis, and I don't know how accurate the emulation is to a real one, but I have a we can do comparisons to this the Sound Blaster that I have. Well, I have a Ensoniq some Ensoniq card that does Sound Blaster emulation. So at least we can do comparisons to see which one sounds better in that sense. And a lot of this is going to be personal opinion anyway. So, all right, so that's a little bit of an intro. I know maybe not the best, but it's this really interesting project this PicoGUS project. Maybe we should show that instead of stuff that you can buy on eBay. Oh, this isn't the GitHub. Let's go to the GitHub. So the GitHub project has all the, if you want to build your own, if you don't want to build your own, you can, I believe, actually they may be sold out. there was a, where is the Tindy link? There was a batch actually that just came in. They're out of stock again. Well, you'll have to wait now. But if you want to buy your own, they're not that bad. I mean, $45 when they're in stock compared to the $200 for the replica one. That would be interesting to compare those two together. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, affordable, right? And yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of it. I do want to say that there are two versions of this, and you can see them here in the GitHub. The top version here is known as 2.0, and it is, in my opinion, it looks cleaner, and it has the added benefit of having a USB port that lets you use game controllers, USB game controllers, which I found really interesting because there's actually a lot of, if you look at Mr. Add-ons, they've been working on replacement PCBs for different retro console boards. So like you swap out the controller of an old like Super Nintendo or Genesis or something, and then that gives you a USB controller, and I believe it probably does X input or whatever, direct input. So I'd be really curious to how well the USB on this 2.0 version works with those Mr. Add-ons controllers, because that could be a really affordable way to get a nice controller to work. There's also the second, they sold it this morning, yeah. There is this other version called 2.0. Oh no, wait, I already said, so that top one with the USB port is 2.0. The version that we're going to build here, and it's sort of my bad because I kind of got lost in the GitHub repository. This version is 1.1, and as you can see, it actually has the Raspberry Pi Pico soldered onto it, as well as this other, it's a DAC, I think. So there's this other DAC board that I bought as well. But, you know, as you can see, if you're doing it yourself and you're not super comfortable, because this 2.0 version, if you were to DIY it yourself, you'd have to hand solder, or not hand solder, but you'd have to use a hot air to solder the RP2040 chip onto this board. So I accidentally ordered the 1.1.1. Actually, there's a 1.2 now, so that's even newer than this one. So it'll be a little bit different if you're trying to build one of the easier to build DIY 1.x versions yourself. It'll be even easier if you try to do it. But I also I wanted to build this one on stream. I wanted to build the 2.0 one. So PCBWay, I asked my contact, and they said I could order this 2.0 one too. So tonight we're going to build the 1.x one. but then in the future we're going to build this one also. But that's all right. In addition to GUS emulation, this actually will also do AdLib with different firmware if you load different firmware. So I'm curious how well this would work in my IBM as an AdLib card, because that would be interesting instead of having to buy an AdLib, although there are reproduction AdLib projects as well. So yep, so I'm gonna be building both, but tonight we're gonna be doing this one. So before we get into that, I guess let's hop over to the bench and I'll show you what I've got. Ian, by the way, the 1.x boards can still use the USB joystick with an OTG adapter plugged into the micro USB. Wow, okay, that's interesting. So I could get a little bracket to break out the USB to my case. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look and see what kind of little PCI slot brackets are available for that, because I'm really curious, because that would be nice for that Mr. Add-ons project. I'll have to reach out to him, Porkchop, and get some of those, because that's coming in hot, and I would really like to test that USB project. So, okay, so normally PCBWay likes me to unbox the package, but this is really all there was. There was a pen and some stickers in the box as well. But here's the card. So, and then this is the bill of material stuff is in here. Before we get into this too, I have a different box that's not related to this, but so I guess maybe like start PCBWay sponsors segment. If you don't know, and I want to talk about the actual board and the specs of the board that I ordered from PCBWay if you're ordering your own. So if you don't know PCBWay, they are a custom PCB manufacturer. They support a bunch of creators, which is awesome, and myself as well. But like, I appreciate that about them, that they support even smaller channels like mine and other people. So huge shout out to PCBWay. But yeah, in addition to custom PCB manufacturing, they also do 3D printing. If you want 3D printing, I used them when I wanted my room is kind of a mess right now. When I built my Ashita, the portable Wii, they 3D printed the enclosure here. It's a 3D printed resin, so very high quality for that sort of thing. They also have CNC machining. I guess you could do some metal parts. And also, if you're a mod developer or whatever, and you're looking for injection molding stuff, they have that sort of stuff as well. So, all right. So what did I order from PCBWay? This is Enig. I wanted to go with the red. I got the red. I got my comments here. Okay. I got the red because this is, I guess, most Gravis Ultrasound boards are red. I got Enig everything, basically. So there are two options in PCBWay when you order this, right? So you can kind of select the base between Hassel, which is just the normal, I think they put like a thin layer of solder on top of the copper when they etch it. But Enig, I think, is a separate plating process where they'll actually plate it. It's not hard gold. I don't think it's that durable, but I think like the pads and things are more durable. I'm not an expert when it comes to that, but I in this circumstance, I used it because this is a slot edge. This actually will go into the ISA slot. So I feel like Enig is superior to Hassel. I'm not really sure, but I think that it is a little bit harder. There is a hard gold option. So when you go into PCBWay, pretty much all the options are the defaults for this, other than obviously I picked the red solder mask and the white silk screen. But there's also an edge option where you could put, like, let's say you wanted to just put Hassel up here, like this part of the board, but then you could do Enig or hard gold even down here. Hard gold is probably the best because it's actually real plated. It's real gold, I think, like instead of this plated. But I feel like this is a little bit harder, this ENIG, than the cheaper version. But hard gold, I couldn't. So PCBWay gives me a budget, and hard gold for any board that I've ever put in there is always way over the budget. So we're just seeing the box. Oh no! Oh no! How long has it been? It's broken. Okay. Well, that's something. Sorry, everybody. I didn't know the screen is frozen. That is annoying. Okay. Well, it could be this thing down here. Let's see. Sorry. Messing around. Why no like that? Okay, well, I think that's fine. Anyways, you just see the box, and thankfully the card was in view. I was talking about with PCBWay, like the main option that you set for either Hassel or ENIG is this top part, but there's actually an edge connector spot on the form where you could make the edge a different material if you wanted to. So you could just do cheaper Hassel up here just for the components, and then hard gold if you want, but that would be like a $200 or $300 for 5 boards. So, okay, yeah, I think we're good now. Hi, Bartleby, how you doing? Okay, so sorry about the camera not working. It was just me talking anyways, but if you have any questions about, I didn't change any other options, like I said, other than I chose red solder mask and ENIG instead of the Hassel. And then I checked the box. There's an edge connector box on the form, and then you can even specify a bevel option, and this is 45 degrees. I wasn't sure. There's a bunch of different degree options. You could do like 30, 45, something like that. I did 45. I wasn't sure what the ISA standard is. So if anybody knows that, I would be interested because, yeah. Okay, cool. So that's the actual board. I've got the bill of materials stuff in here. I'm not going to dive into that just yet, but before we do that, okay, so that's the end-ish of the PCBWay sponsorship part. I left the link in the description if you want to check out the site. And yeah, there's other projects and things. Actually, I think I didn't put this, but I think if you go to the GitHub page, there is. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. No, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Okay. All right. So before we do anything, I have another box I got from Bonzo over at bonzosmodshop.com, I think. I didn't put that in the thing. And some other people I got some stuff from. So first, these are EEPROMs. These are electronically erasable ROM chips for my IBM. And I did get the EEPROM programmer because I've never had the EEPROM programmer. It's always been a little bit too expensive. It's like $75, and I've always like not wanted to buy it. But I do want to write my own, flash my own BIOSes for that IBM. So I got some other goodies. Before we get into the Bonzo stuff, I did get this from D Tomcat on Discord / I think Twitter maybe also. This is the PicoProm SD, and I believe it is I'm not sure which way this goes in, but it has pogo pins. Oh yeah, the tape. This is a Xbox ROM dumper. So I believe that you would be able to dump your own legit original Xbox BIOS with this. So if you wanted to do the Project Seller, this would be one way that you could. This would be a way that you can get a legitimate copy of the 1.6 BIOS that you could use. So I thought that was pretty cool, and someday I would like to try it out, see how well it works. And with this pogo pins, I don't even think you need to solder it. I think you could just put it onto the LPC port. So that's cool. All right. A lot of this stuff is just retro game stuff, not computer stuff. But First we have this little, I'm not going to take it out because there's a lot of little bits, but this is an FRAM memory pack thing for the N64. So it doesn't have a shell. I have to 3D print my own shell, but got that from Bonzo. He's got a bunch of them. This is like a special thing if you're using like the Wii Dual or GC Dual, that you can adapt the RGB output from the Wii Dual or GC Dual, or I guess it would just be the GC Dual in that case, out of the multi-out, to the Wii component cables, the Wii HD Retrovision cables, so that you could get component output. Because normally, stock GameCubes don't have RGB output through the multi-out. This adds that, but I think the pinout is different or something. It's not a standard multi-out. But this makes it a standard Wii output. So that's that. I also have the GB Interceptor. This is a Game Boy cartridge to, like, there's some software that runs on a PC. So you connect this cart that it goes inside of a Game Boy. You connect this cart and it allows you to, it's kind of like streaming a Game Boy games, but it's using some software. So it kind of sends the video output to the software that you can capture and stream. So I got a little parts for that. I don't know what this screen must be for the, I don't know what everything is for. These little bits. Oh, I think this is the parts kit for that GB Interceptor. These little things are for the open source cart reader. The Sandy cart reader. I have big long ones in mine now, so Bonzo included some of these. This is a Amiibo emulator. So it's an NFC generator thing that you can load up with all the Amiibos. So that's kind of neat. Yep. Then this big thing is just another the updated version of the open source cart reader case. But since I built my open source cart reader, there was a revision that does things like auto voltage detection and things. So I got another case that it has nice, look at that. It looks really nice too. Kaitor designed the case, but Bonzo printed me one on his nice, what is that 3D printer called? The Bamboo Labs printer. The last bit in this box is, the problem with the programmer are all the adapters make the cost higher. Yeah, yep. Actually, I found a better deal on the programmer itself, which I think is all I need for these EEPROMs. This certain pin outputs. It's just the base thing. I don't think I need any of the adapters yet. I think I was able to get it for $40 on AliExpress. So I don't think it's a clone. I hope it's not a clone, but it was a little bit cheaper to get it on AliExpress. So this, I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but this is the laminated thing from, what is it? Not Bai, the Super Bai or something. This is for the Pocket Color, Game Boy Pocket Color. So I have a bunch of streams where I assembled the Game Boy Pocket Color. But this is the laminated Game Boy Color screen already attached. It came like this from the seller. So you have to order basically the whole thing together. I ordered white. I don't know why. I guess it looks kind of nice. But you can't, I think you need to order both the case and the thing itself at the same time. So yeah, I think it's the T48. Yep, it's not the beige one, it's the black one. Can't wait to take a plunge down that. Yeah, yep. It's fun. And so here's some other replica stickers for the Pocket Color and some other things. So thank you, Bonzo, for sending this. I mean, I bought some of this stuff. I didn't buy some of the other things, but if I remember, I'm gonna have to add a link in my description to Bonzo's Retro. Ooh, I think that's what it is. Bonzo's Retro.shop. I'll have to put a link in this video. Not sponsored, but just a friend, and yeah, he hooked me up with some of these things. So that's that. All right, let's get this out of the way. All right. Now, let's get our PicoGUS stuff back. All right, so I looked at, let me get my phone. I looked at if you go to the PicoGUS, I'm just doing it on my phone. There's a little like guide to how you should solder the parts onto the GUS here, the PicoGUS. So let me turn my thing on, my iron, soldering iron. And then we go to build guide. The build guide is, so I guess I should say, since I kind of didn't understand it at first, if you go to the GitHub project, there's a bunch of like high-level folders, like folders inside the root folder of the GitHub project. If you go into hardware, that's where you'll find the Gerbers for this version. Okay, and it's kind of referenced in the top part here of like building your own, and it's like you want to build your own, follow along here. That's for this 1.x version there. So if you're curious of where the 2.0 stuff is, it's actually in HW or hardware chip down. That's all the 2.0 stuff. Now it looks like Ian probably uses JLC PCB, and when I submitted the files to PCBWay, there was they have this check where they can actually check if a bunch of different things, but one of the things they checked was the trace spacing, how far away the traces are on the PCB, and they were too narrow for PCBWay's liking. So Ian hooked me up by fixing that in the files, and he sent them to me. I don't know if you're going to put them in the GitHub project, Ian, but so I've got the 2.0 files or 2.0 boards coming. Let's see. Can't wait. I need to get in touch with him and order a bunch of stuff. Oh, you're talking about Bonzo. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the GitHub, and then if we go to build guide, probably. Okay. Yeah. There's this section called assembly order. And so it kind of tells you to start with the SOIC, and it gives you the what are they called? The reference designators. So let's start with U5, U6, and U8. So what does that mean? When you order these parts from Mouser or DigiKey, you want to keep usually with the bill of materials for a PCB, they have reference designators, which I guess customer reference is what DigiKey calls them, but you really want to maintain that, because otherwise you're just going to have generic packages and you're not going to really know what each one is unless you remeasure it. I did that when I did my minigun supergun build, the first one. None of the parts, none of the bill of materials had the reference designator, so I had to go back and cross-reference what the labels on them said to the bill of materials. So don't be like me, and always remember to carry along the customer reference designator thing. So I need what? I need U5, U6, and U8. So I've got U6. I don't think I'm going to finish this tonight, but that's all right. Oh, here's U8. For you retro console guys, did you see the Voltar stream where he went over his the edge enhancer for the Super Nintendo? That's pretty neat. It looks like a pretty easy. Oh, here's U5. Okay, it looks like a pretty easy build. He talked about how you're supposed to install it, and it looks a lot simpler. I don't know if there's necessarily going to be any wires. There might be a flat flex cable, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of complicated wires. So that seems really neat. It uses this like interposer, and you get the different interposers for the different models of your Super Nintendo. So pretty cool. All right, let's see. What did it say? U4 first. U4, U5. Oh, did I get the wrong ones? U5, U6, and U8. Okay, got it. All right, let's start with U5. There's not that many components on this board, which is really nice. bit. Okay. Got it. All right, where is U5? All right, U5 is here. Oh, you know, the other thing I want to get is this stuff out of my way. I think one of the keys to this build is going to be this. Got this Amtech paste flux. This is VS213. I've had this for a long time, but it is very helpful for these builds. It's better than liquid flux, in my opinion. It stays liquid longer. It doesn't evaporate as quickly. So, yeah, that's going to be helpful for doing some of these parts. Future stuff look cool. Yep, very easy. Yeah, the interposer stuff he was talking about is cool. Okay. All right, so we got my iron. It is set for 350. It shouldn't be that bad. All right, let's see what I've got. I got U5 here. Right. All right, so we need to figure out where pin 1 is. So pin 1 has a dot on the piece, but I don't see dots on this. I think there was a note in the, it expires in 2022. Oh man, oh yeah, you're right, July 2022. Rip. Watch out for component orientation. The footprints I used have a relatively subtle indicator for where pin 1 is. Look for the longer line. Okay. Okay, got it. So pin 1. Sorry, I still don't have a scope. So you guys are gonna have to suffer. So what I like to do is just put solder one pin. Usually it depends on the hand that you're dominant. So like I'm right hand dominant, so I put the top right of whatever side I'm dominant on. Then with the other hand, pick the piece up. So again, the dot is on the top side here, and on the board, the line that is longer is the side for the first pin. So you kind of just move around the piece with the tweezers, but also want to make sure that it's flat to the board. So once you can slide it around pretty easily, just heat up the pin. Oops. And slide it on there. So I think mine is a little bit off. Okay, it's not lined up. I had coffee before because I was super tired, so this is actually kind of hard. All right, I'm gonna get my liquid flux bottle. Actually, I don't think I even need the tweezers yet. Let's see. It might be easier just to use your finger. That way you're both putting like downward pressure and it gives you a little bit more, I don't know, stability is not the right word, but it's off. I don't know what's happening here. I guess it's probably, it's also the angle. I can't get super, okay, there we go. All right, I think that's better. All right, so now I'm just going to tack one on the other side, the opposite side. Okay. And now, when I do that, now I could take some of this flux like this, just a little bit. And then we can add some flux to the iron. We can sort of do some drag soldering. Okay. Cool. And then the same thing on the other side. Cool. Nice. All right. All right, U6. Love my Amtech flux. I'm finally almost done with my expired syringe. Yeah. I don't know what expires about it. Well, I don't know. It's like, is it like baking soda? Is there like an active ingredient that just kind of stops working after a certain time? Okay, so this is U6, which is right next to it. Okay, the longer line is on the same side, so that makes it a little easier. Okay, so find pin 1, which is for me is the top side here. And we do the same thing, just solder one pin. Get it up there. Wow, that went a lot. That went a lot better than the other side. The other one. Then tack down the opposite leg. Okay, then you can solder. And as you can see, it like the flux just stays forever. Okay. Other side. I'm excited for the 2.0 one. So I kind of like the challenge. Not to say that this is not nice too. This is nice. And oh, as far as I know, I don't know if we're going to get to the firmware today, but the firmware is the same no matter what version. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, and I'll try to remember to say that when we actually cover the firmware. Okay, that's U6. Where's U... I'm just kind of keeping track of which ones I've done, because you can kind of have a mountain of bags. I just throw... I throw the bags on the floor. It's like a... I don't know. It's the thing I do. Okay, U8. That was the next one, right? Yeah, U8. U8 is where? Oh, this one. Okay, so we rotate. Let's find pin 1. Oh, never mind. Rotate the other way, because pin 1 is the longer side. So pin 1 is the top from this orientation. Okay. This is a serial pseudo, whatever that means. What does change jumper to apply power to micro USB connector on Pico to allow USB? Oh, yeah, that's what Ian was talking about before about being able to use that. Whatever this is kind of nasty. This chip is like white on the top, and there's a little tiny speck for the pin 1 indicator. I think it goes this way. Okay, it's not quite lined up yet. Okay, nice. Then the opposite corner. Then some flux. Cool. Nice. Oh, another thing I would like to get is a ultrasonic cleaner. Because a board like this would be perfect because you have gunk all over it from the, those PS-RAM chips from Adafruit are sanded on the top for some reason. Makes it hard to see. Oh, I wonder if they sand off the markings so that people don't know what chip they're actually getting sent. Interesting. Okay. All right, so that's 5, 6, and 8. Now we're going to move on to TSOP. U2, U3, and U4. Okay. Where's my bag? Oh, my box. What did I say? U2, 3, and 4? Okay, I have U3 and U4 in that bag. Capacitors. U2. Okay, U2. Nice. All right, let's bust out U2. Okay, so we're getting into Tiny Town. Not quite Raspberry Pi Pico or RP2040 Town. That would be a different story because it's a different way to solder it, but the theory is the same, right? So we find, what did I say this was? This was U2. So we find U2 first, which is this bottom one here, bottom footprint here. Then we find the first pin, which is the long line, which is at the top of this orientation. Then we find pin 1 of the chip, which is there. Okay, oops, not upside down. Okay. All right, so that's that. Now, like I said, the theory for soldering them is the same, even though the pin pitch is smaller. You're gonna try to very carefully solder or tin one of these legs, although ENIG makes it more difficult. Never really didn't think of that, but ENIG needs a little bit more heat for longer for the joint to, yeah. All right, so now we probably can, just trying to line it up. We could probably use our fingers again. Just be careful not to solder your fingers. But this is where you really do want to go slowly. I mean, like, take your time. Don't get frustrated. If you get frustrated here, I don't know, go take a break. Go do something else for a little bit and then come back. Because, yeah, it all kind of hinges on getting a good placement. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. Now the other side, this side is fine. Oops, sorry. This right side is fine, but the left side is a little off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just, because I'm tacking down the opposite corner, I'm going to just try to both tack it down and straighten the pin out, that side of the pins out, if that makes sense. So now they're now they're kind of equal, or even, I mean. Now we can blast it with some solder. Time to finish Link to the Past randomizer. That sounds fun. Now the possibility for bridging is a lot more here. But you know, if you've got the right flux, definitely buy the Amtech flux, and if you've got a nice iron that, you know, controls temperature well, it really isn't that bad. It helps that the flux stays on there, and what I learned is time is not necessarily against you, or you don't need to rush, I guess is a better word, especially for these finer pin pitches. I don't know if somebody's looking for advice from someone like me, because how you avoid bridges is actually more evenly heating the pins next to each other. So like the solder knows how to kind of go from one pin to the next. That's why drag soldering works. It flows with the flux, you know, as long as you have flux, it can flow to the next pin, or the pins next to it. So don't be like, you don't want to slam through it. Like you don't want to go super fast. I guess when you're learning to solder, you kind of are afraid, like, oh, am I gonna burn it? Am I gonna burn this part? Which you can for sure, but you don't get the good flow of the solder without heat. So it's a fine balance between that and okay. All right, I'll stop talking now. All right. U3 and U4, which are both in, so that bag's done. U3 and U4 are in here. Yeah, Matt, I agree that this is a sweet project. There is a Raspberry Pi, what is it called? Just for people looking for it. It's called Retro Pico Hardware Discord, and there's a couple of projects in there right now, but the ones that I see that are cool, I don't really know what the PCMCIA project is, but the PicoGUS, there's a channel for that one. But then there's also this third project called PicoMem. Somebody wired up basically so that a Raspberry Pi, or the RP2040, can run or access the ISA bus. And right now you can use it to add more memory to a computer, but I feel like that opens up a huge so we're looking for side ones up here, pin one. Oh, I guess they're all on the top. But that PicoMem project is awesome. I could see emulating any ISA sound card using a Raspberry Pi Pico in the future. Anything even like this, I mean, you could theoretically emulate this. I mean, I guess you probably might need a few hardware things, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Pico MC. Oh yeah, okay. So see, it's those cards, but I don't know what they're called. The that bus. Well, Ian, I don't think, you know, not to discourage you, because I understand. I think I like the nature of open source versus closed source selling the stuff. Like, I have nothing against this guy, other guy, David's Electronics, for not sharing the source of his project, but he's selling them. To me, especially coming from the retro video game console community, there are things that are that expensive that are closed source, other projects, I mean. So I think it's fine that people can not, you know, you can choose whether or not you want to produce them yourself. You can choose whether or not you want to release the source for your project. But, you know, people would try to hope that the project would be open source for the future. Especially these projects are for theoretically you're preserving your console. You're not like trashing up your console with new boards and things. You want it to last. So that's why I like the open source aspect of it. But yeah, you know, people need to eat, and I think it'd be neat if somebody can find a living making these things. So if you want to, I don't think you should think, if you're thinking that, you know, there's something better intrinsically, I guess, about an open source project versus a not open source project, or making or versus not making the products instead of just having the source available. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go, but whatever you choose, I think is fine. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you wanted advice. You probably didn't want advice, but there you go. But yeah, pricing for things is there. I guess there's the saying. I don't know who started it, but like, you know, a project, the worth of a thing in open source, it's not just the BOM cost. You know, it's not just the cost of the chips. It's also the cost of the research and development, and that, you know, that's first and foremost. I think people got to understand that, because, you know, designs are 90% of the project is the design. You know, the other 10% is probably making and selling the thing or whatever, the logistics, marketing maybe. But yeah, the design is where all the hard work happens. So people's time is worth the money, I guess. I've even tried some PCB design myself, and I know how difficult it is. All right, on to U4. I'm probably using too much of this flux, but it's fine. Okay, well, if you get a little bridge that you can't get out, it's all right. Don't panic. Just use a little solder braid. Just kind of quickly try to hit it and get out. There we go. Yeah, I definitely want to build an AdLib clone for my IBM, because I've already ordered the chips. There's 2 chips, that I guess the OPL chips or whatever. So I've got those coming. I'm not sure exactly which clone to build. There's a couple of them. Actually, Vogons has a nice list of all the sound card projects now, or not all of them, but some. And PicoGUS is on there. Solder bridges love to hide under the legs. Yeah, yep. All right. I think that's it for that. Okay. All right, now the SOT23 5-leg components, U7, U9. Water break. Ooh, I have a seltzer. U7. I got U9. D1. Okay, U7. Hello? Oh, jeez, it fell out. Okay, well, where is U7 on this board? Oh, she's hiding up here. Okay. Half the challenge is getting it out of the package without losing it on the floor. Ian, do you know, has anybody tried to hand solder a 2.0 yet? Or is it mostly people doing manufacturing? Whoops. So, all right, so this part, yeah, just be careful that you're not, so I'm trying to solder in here, but I soldered the wrong pad. So just be careful before you commit that you're not committing to the wrong thing. Oh, I wish I had thinner tweezers. Let me get my thinner tweezers. Okay, again, you want to make sure that your parts are flat to the board, I suppose. Oh gosh, this is a difficult one. I should have done this one first, I guess. That's right. Okay. Yeah, you want to make sure that your pieces are flat to the board. Oof. That's better. All right. Now I get inside of the opposite side. Nice. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get my. Oh, here's a thing I'm working on. There's this. My compact Presario has these 3.5 inch hard drive adapter things, and I've found a few people have made these 3.5 to 2.5 inch SSD bracket things, but the problem is this metal bracket is. It has these little tabs. Oops. It has these little tabs that are supposed to go into the holes of a hard drive, even though it doesn't screw in, so they're like quick disconnects kind of. But most of the brackets don't have those holes. So I ended up designing my own 3D printing bracket that has all the holes on it. So I can use so I can use it with that bracket. I don't know of anyone who's built their own 2.0 yet. You're the first. Nice. Yeah, that's exciting. All right. Did we get... What did I do? I did U7. I got to do U9 now. Okay. Where is U9? U9 is... Oh, down here by the Pico thing. Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to get. I'm gonna get my my fume extractor. Keep forgetting to use it. So sorry if it's noisy. Come on, piece. Cool. All right, making progress. That's U9 done. All right, now I need to do all the passive components. C3 through 10, R1 through 4, and L1 and L2. And then D1. And then the Pico, jumpers, and the DAC. Okay. I think we can get to the end of the build tonight. I don't know if we're going to get to flashing it and using it tonight. Okay. So let me get all of the capacitors and resistors out. So here's that. Resistors. L1 and L2 is coming soon. C10. Oh, nice red jumpers. That's nice. Not the big caps. Those are at the end. Ooh, this nice stereo jack. Not the headers, not the headers. And this is R. Okay, got it. All right, let's get rid of C10 while we're at it. Okay, where's C10? Oh, the board is kind of nasty, isn't it? Oh. This is the Leon method, where you kind of hose down to get flux off of a board. You kind of soak the board with IPA, and then you soak a paper towel on top of the board with IPA, and then you rub the towel. I know this is not 100% great, but yeah. And that way well, Leon mentioned to keep doing this over and over again, but I think that's fine for now. Because otherwise you'll just spread your sticky flux all over the board. I'll clean it again later. Makes me wish I had a ultrasonic cleaner. All right. C10 is where? D1. Okay, C10 is up here. Okay, so for these small components, basically I'm just doing the same thing, but turn the board around, and that helps you a lot. So just rotate it so that whatever your dominant hand is on the right, on the side where do that one start of that side first, and then do the other side after. Just makes it easier. Okay, if I could get the component out. Okay. Ah! Okay. There's C10. Now we need yeah, got away. Now we need C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, C9. Now for these tape ones, I like to just kind of cut each one out and use a X-Acto knife to do this. Usually I could do it without having to, yeah, there we go. Okay, what was that? Shoot, I just lost that paper. Okay, C3, C3, C5, C4, C3. Okay. Okay, C3. Now C4. Usually I try to buy extras of each component in case you do lose it. It's way easier to spend the extra 10 cents or whatever it is, cents, to get another one delivered the first time than it is to have to wait a week or whatever to finish your project because you lost one on the floor. So I order like a couple of each, and usually, at least DigiKey, I'm not sure about Mouser, they tell you that you can, like let's say you order 6 or 7 of these surface mount components or something, they'll say it's cheaper to get 10, because usually it is cheaper to get 10 than it is to get like 6 or 7. So usually they're good about catching it. I mean, there's like it's like some automated code in their app, but yeah. So it doesn't hurt to get like 10 of each. Okay, that was 4. Now 5 is next. Oops. Hello. What's up? Huh? Yeah. Okay, C5. Take hold. All right, C6. 6 up here. Getting there. All right, C7, 8, and 9. So 3 more. Okay, where's C7? Oh, that was the one I soldered already up here. Okay. C7. And where's C8? C8. Oh, C8 is over here. Take my sweatshirt off. It gets super hot. Oop. Gets hot in my room with five lights going and my soldering iron, 2 computers. Okay. Okay, C8, and then C9 is down here. Ian, if you're still here, what's your favorite, or anybody that's listening, what's your favorite retro computer platform? if you could pick one. Oh, where's C10? Did I miss one? Did I miss C10? Or is that a typo in the... Oh, I soldered C10. Wait a minute. Oh, it goes up to 9 on the wrapper, but I did 10. Does that mean that there's a different C10 value? Wait a minute. J5. Not that, not that, not that. L1 and L2. Shoot. D1, R4, R3, R1. Well, all right. Let me look this up in the BOM. I want to make sure that I'm not soldering the wrong value there, or maybe I didn't buy the right one. Oh, I meant like so like what like Pentiums. Like my computer that I remember was it's kind of unobtainium now, but it was a Pentium Pro, which was in between Pentium and Pentium MMX. It was like right in between there. So that was like I just have a lot of nostalgia for that. Yeah, I mean, I guess that, yeah. Socket 5, socket 7. We got an Amiga. Yeah, I mean, that I would really be interested in checking out some of the other computer OSs and things. MSX2, Shadow Mask, nice. Yeah, a lot of the Japanese computers I know nothing about, and I'm sure there's other just types of, operating systems and things that I don't know anything about, like OS2, like IBM OS2. Don't really know anything about it. Okay, let's check the BOM. Oops. Where is the BOM? Pentium era, got it. Nice. Yep. I would love to have a 486 just because of LGR, and they seem kind of neat. Or either that or Super Socket 7. Super Socket 7 can have a lot of different CPUs in it too. But those individual boards, you're getting like $100 to $200 just for a motherboard, and then you need an AT case sometimes, and it's very expensive. You can spend $300 or $400 or $500 on you could spend $500 on a retro PC. So it's way more expensive than not way more, but it's at least 2 or 3 times more expensive than collecting video game consoles. C10 should be 1 UF. The other ones are 0.1. Pentium Pro 150 was the first computer I built. Was duped that there was going to be a P Pro version of the MMX later in its life cycle. Yeah, and certain motherboard chipsets were not compatible. Like, I have a Gateway, but they have an Intel motherboard, and the Intel motherboards, the chipsets they are not compatible with. Well, so I think socket 5 and socket 7 are the same amount of pins or something like that, but they just don't support the later processors. It's also the front side bus stuff. I'm learning a lot about that stuff. I don't know a ton about it, but yeah. Okay, so does that mean I didn't? Maybe I missed that. So these are what? 0.1. Well, maybe I didn't order it. Huh. Interesting. Where I dropped it? J1. Well, that's annoying. All right, well, I'm going to continue populating. I think you got C10 from a different bag. Did I? Let me check the floor. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I already did it. Yep, it's on the floor. So that's a downside to throwing everything on the floor. It just becomes a big pile. But you do them in order. You find a methodology of. Well, I'm glad that you put an order. Sometimes it's when things are open ended. I don't like, my brain doesn't like that. So I like having a little guide, even if it's simple. Okay, so let's do the resistors. Let's start with R1 and R2. Yeah, well, I've been getting more IBM time. I ordered a VGA graphics card for it because I was stuck on CGA, and I don't have. Do you, Ian or anybody watching? Do you know any? Well, do you have a project for the RGBI, the digital RGB output from CGA cards? Because that's something I don't have, so I can't capture the output. I have a CGA IBM card, but the composite video output works well, but it doesn't. The RetroTink doesn't like it. Okay, R1's up here. So I ordered a VGA card, but that's not really era correct to the IBM. At least not that IBM. Is it slightly bigger than all the other caps? Oh, maybe it might be thicker. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I think R2 is the same value. Yeah, R2, which is here. Did I pick up a new video card for my Pentium? No, I'm still using the Matrox Millennium. I did, however, because I got my compact. I was focused on my Presario for a little bit. I installed Windows ME. Windows Me. I've never used it before, but it's not that bad. But when I was using that computer. It's an Athlon 900, so it's equivalent of like a Pentium 3, I guess, or something, but it's AMD. It has a universal AGP socket. So I had originally bought this for my Time Machine Athlon 64 build, but it was the wrong voltage for AGP. This is a different voltage because the notch is in the wrong spot. But I verified that this card works, and this card is sick. I think this is it's either an S3 Trio or a Verge, one of those. But it has VGA, S-Video, and composite. Actually, this might be a game port. This is either S-Video or a game port. It might be S-Video. But I'm excited about this. This is cool. Still don't have a Voodoo card. I would like to get a Voodoo card. But at least I'm confirming that more of my stuff that I binge bought works. It's nice to have different builds and stuff ready to go so that you could test parts and stuff. Because most of the time when you buy stuff on eBay, you don't necessarily know if it's actually working or if the person's just BSing you. So, and they only if they do allow returns, it's only for 30 days. So you can't like buy a piece, have it not work in something that you have already, and then have to wait for a different one to verify that it's not working. Otherwise, you're going to be out the cost. So. There's a project that uses a Pico to convert. Oh, I saw. There's a few. I was just wondering if you had a one that you liked better than what. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, because for about the cost of, I think there's the one that's based on the Pi Zero, I don't know, what is it? CGA to CGA to HDMI. I don't remember what the project is called, but for the cost of that project, I bought that VGA card. So not saying that it's too much. I don't know. I do want, but I do need to get something like that because I need to be able to capture CGA and EGA. Oh yeah, RGB to HDMI. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right, I'll have to look into that because I do already have a Pi Zero that I'm not doing anything with. So I'll have to order one of those so that the RetroTink doesn't hate me anymore. But I also have, I really would like to figure out why CGA composite doesn't, or the RetroTink doesn't like CGA composite. All right, this is R4. So I have an oscilloscope, and I was going to bust that out, but I kind of need some hand-holding. I don't know. Sometime I'll do it. I also wanted to buy an RGB bench, which would allow me to get the composite video broken out and terminated properly. But I back to the VGA card. I don't like how, well, certain games for DOS, that old vintage of DOS, they only are for one video mode or the other. Like you have to find software for one or the other. So some games that were designed for the CGA card, they don't work with VGA, or you have to find a completely different version of it. So that's why I kind of still want CGA. I tried looking for an EGA card, but they're ridiculous, like $200 for that. So I kind of, for now, I'm going to pause. I'll have to put in an eBay search term for that because I really want a legit IBM EGA card because I have legit IBM everything else basically. And the VGA card is an ATI Wonder 16. RetroTink 5X doesn't really like CGA composite either. Yeah, there's something wrong with the spec. But if I figured out what was wrong with it, or how it differs from composite, normal composite, maybe Mike may try to update or make a special profile. I don't know, so that it would work. Okay, so this is R3, which is below R4. Interestingly, if you also have a RetroTink 2X, I have a 2X Mini. I use the RetroTink 2X Mini, so the CGA composite goes into the RetroTink 2X Mini, and then from the 2X Mini into my 5X, so the HDMI input, or not my 5X, my 4K. I have the RetroTink 4K. I put into the RetroTink 4K the HDMI output, and it works. So I guess it would work with the RetroTink 2X also. Just, it's nice to be able to upscale to 4K afterwards. But so I'm curious. It's curious why the CGA composite works with that, but not with the more expensive one. Probably not high on Mike's priority list right now, but be nice. I also noticed that certain DOS resolution or certain game resolutions don't. It's way nicer than like the OSSC is, but it's not perfect. I want a RetroTink 4K just for the VGA capture. It looks like it does an incredible job. Yeah, well. You'll find issues with your equipment, your VGA equipment, because well, I don't think there's a lot of analog noise in those old graphics cards and stuff. And one way around this, like for old consoles, is people come up with profiles. They make profiles that have like some like low pass filtering or different kinds of filters that can get like lessen the noise, but you still retain the sharpness and just the color quality. But without that, you can tell certain. I have like jail bars in my Matrox card and things like. definitely interesting. I watched Arian's Digital Basement, and he has problems with the RetroTink 5X and vintage PCs. His video today, there was an update. Is that the one where he? He did a mail thing today. I'll have to look into it because, yeah. All right, I think that's all the resistors. Now I've got to do L1 and L2, which is they're ferrite beads. Well, are they really beads if they don't have holes in them? That's what I want to know. They're called ferrite beads, but they are liars. Not beads. Yeah, as far as in the beginning, I was a little bit paranoid that the 4K wasn't, so one of the benefits of even the 5X does really well over the OSSC is the resolution switching is faster than something like the OSSC. So OSSC has all the things that you need to capture VGA, right? So it's a VGA input, and it also can do audio in. And you can splice it together for the your HDMI output is going to have audio. You don't have to do it with some separate recorder or whatever. But you can notice the latency when you switch resolutions. I can actually not only can I not tell that the resolution switched visually, but I also get annoyed when I see the resolution message popping up. It's like it takes away from how good the screen looks by because the 4K will tell you what resolution it detected on the screen. So I know it's like a super first world problem, but yeah, it's nice, especially for capturing. You don't have to wait, like live streaming. I mean, you don't have to wait for anything, really. But in the beginning, I was sort of paranoid about my equipment. So I've been testing a lot of stuff, new to me stuff, new stuff from eBay that I haven't verified that it's all working. So in the beginning, I couldn't really tell, is the RetroTink not picking up the signal, or is the card that I just bought bad? So I have other monitors, like other VGA monitors and stuff that I can compare and contrast to. But now that I kind of understand that, hey, some of the crap that you're buying on eBay probably doesn't work. I'm a little less paranoid about whether or not it's a problem with the RetroTink 4K or the card, that I'm testing. So, yeah, I'm confident in it, which is that's a big compliment. You can confidently say it's going to capture something, or you're going to find out that the thing that you have is not working. The mail call video. Oh, okay. I'll have to watch it. I watched a little bit of it. All right, so we got that's the ferrite beads. Now we need... Oh, I missed the diode. Oh, no. Oh, diode's next. Okay. Diode. D1. We're getting there. We might just finish the build tonight, and then I'll have to flash it next time. Okay, so I have more than one of these diodes. Ian, is there a project that you would like to do that you can't, or you find it is enough / hard enough just to do one? Okay, so I know for diodes are directional, so we've got to find out which way is which on the diode. Let's read the... I think there's very subtle lines on the. Oh, I see the picture. Okay, so if you're following along at home, the GitHub has a blown up picture of the diodes. There's these, there's very faint lines on one side of the diode. That's the side that goes to the box. So there's a box on the board, or like there's only 3 sides to the markings, the silk screen. The inside of the box there is the side that gets the lines. I know that was super confusing way to mention it, but the box part, the inside of the 3 lines, gets the lines on the diode. That is the correct way to solder it. Okay, now diodes go in the little bag. Little bags go in the big bag. Ow, I just poked myself with the sharp thing. There's other projects I want to get to, but PicoGUS has taken all my time. The next thing I want to get into is expansion cards for the X6800 computers. That platform is a huge rabbit and money hole. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have told me that, because now I'm going to want to buy one. Okay, cool. That's neat to know. Might have to do fall down that rabbit hole for science. All right, I think we're past all the components except for the big ones, the big capacitors, and the Pico and the DAC and the the MIDI output port. So we need I guess we need the pin headers. Oh, do I not have pin headers for the Pico? What are these pin headers for? Oh, did I not order enough of these? Or is there enough in here? Okay, that makes sense. So, since the Raspberry Pi has castellation, the Pico, I mean, has castellations, maybe I should save some time and just solder it directly. I mean, that kind of sucks for me in the future if I ever have to desolder it, but it does save me some time now. Can you also solder the? Oh, you can't really solder the DAC because the DAC has the DAC has the output on it, and it's integrated with the bracket, or it's the right height for the bracket. Wanted to do a Pico replacement for the SID chip on the C64, but somebody beat you to it. Commodore 64 is another computer that I've always wanted to get into, but it always seems expensive. But I say that after having spent, I don't know, $500, $600, $700 on computer stuff, other computer stuff. So I definitely could buy a C64. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I guess I'll just I've got the pin header. That's not really the problem. Should I just suck it up? Ooh, I've also got headers, but I don't know if I care that much to put the Raspberry Pi in a socket. Yeah, that's all right. We can do this. Might make it look a little cleaner. Okay, so let's install a header. There's my snippy snips.
I just want the C64 monitor. You still been enjoying the RetroTink 4K? I have the HD15 to SCART for VGA, so I'm waiting until work season starts. HD15 to SCART? Oh, so like VGA? I do need to get me one of those. Actually, you know what? If it really, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say that I'm not happy with the RetroTink because, I mean, it's the RetroTink 4K, but, you know, I think, other than the simplicity, well, no, I can't say other than. Here's a list of things that I like about the RetroTink. Okay? I like, the most important thing for me is that it outputs in 4K. Like, any input, it gets automatically just output to 4K, which, other than a few circumstances, is easier. I don't have to resolution switch, or like I don't have to choose, you know, with the 5X, I know there are some experimental output modes, right? So you can do some 1440p output, which it wasn't necessarily designed for. Like, it shouldn't necessarily be able to do true 1440p, but it can, and certain versions of it can. But certain consoles don't like that. Like, my Super Nintendo doesn't like that 4K or 1440p mode. So that would mean I'd have to switch out of that mode into a 1080p mode or something to get it to work, which I don't like. So the 4K is more stable, and it outputs to 4K 60 all the time. You don't really have to swap it out. So that isn't, you know, one less thing for me to think about. I get, oh, do I have to do these too? I guess I do. So that's the main advantage for me. So far, the other thing that I thought I would like, is the filters, the CRT, the scanline options. I'm not gonna say I don't like them. The problem is I don't have a good comparison, right? So I don't necessarily have one of those, like a BVM or something, or a Trinitron to compare it to. Because I feel like if I did, I would be able to know, okay, how good is this, you know? That was kind of my problem. Sorry, I'm just off the screen here. I'm kind of holding everything down here. That's kind of my problem with the other previous devices that had scan lines, is I wasn't really sure how good they were, like how good was the output versus the real thing. So I'm in that situation again. I have the really expensive, you know, scaler that does these scanline options, but I don't know if it's good enough. You know, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I get in my own head as far as, you know, whether or not that part is worth it. But that's why I said that's not the only reason that wasn't the only reason I got the 4K. The main advantage is it just works. Yeah. And that's all I asked. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's a very expensive thing, but if you this is not my job per se, but you know, when I start these streams or when I make videos, whatever, I have, you know, there's a stupid laundry list of things I have to set up, right? So every time I stream my Logitech C920, the settings reset. So I have to go into the Logitech C920 utility, reset the settings every single time I open OBS, right? Sometimes my cam link doesn't work, right? So now I have to go reset my cam link and make sure it works. Like, I could depend on the 4K, right? I could depend that it's going to work, and I could depend on the output. I guess that's what I was trying to talk about with the not sure if it works with the parts that I was working on. Like, I bought some cards on eBay, and I wasn't sure if they worked or if it was just a incompatibility with the RetroTink. Yeah, I'm more confident with the 4K than any scaler that I've ever had, I guess, to put it a different way. even the Retching 5X. Now, granted, I have the older 5X. I don't have the one that I have the first model one, which doesn't have all the bells and whistles. There was an upgraded, not upgraded, but there was a revision of the hardware shortly after I bought mine that enabled the frame gen, I think, in the higher resolution, 1440p or something. But yeah. And I'm sure it's going to get better over time. This is not like the first batch literally just sold out, so I trust that Mike is gonna keep people happy. Okay, so I did all the tops. Now I gotta do all the bottoms. I'm not gonna snip these pins off. These pin header pins are like thicker than like component legs, and they are gonna destroy my $30 Nipex things. I don't have a 4K TV, so I'd have to get that on top of the 4K. I think for the time being, I'm just going to get my PVM serviced. Yeah, I mean, I am extremely surprised, Belmont, with the quality of like the lower brand. Because I have TCL. I've had TCL TVs down in my living room for a while, and they're not OLED or anything, but I mean, they have steadily gotten better over time. The light output is better. Maybe not as good as an OLED, or well, not as good blacks as the OLED, but definitely very bright. So that's good for HDR stuff, and it has all the HDR features, right? So that whether you care about the HDR features or not, it doesn't really matter because the TVs need to automate it, right? So if you get if you have a file, you're streaming something, and that something that you're trying to stream only supports an HDR format, then you are literally, you're stuck. You can't watch that file or that movie if you don't have a TV that's compatible. So I would get something, some TV. So you can get a 55-inch. I think my TCL was like $600 or something, which is not terrible. I mean, it's not double that basically for an OLED. So I can definitely tell the difference between 4K and not like that. Doesn't really matter. Side by side, well, because I kind of edit video, I can sort of tell that my 1080p cameras are not sharp in the 4K output. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. Actually, GUS-C is great through its VGA in and out. Interesting. Yeah, Mike is def someone who will go above and beyond. Did you figure out what was wrong with your new camera? It was all blotchy. No, I sent that piece of garbage back. The Razer. I don't even remember what it was. Nope, send it back immediately. I couldn't fix it. Nothing. No software reset. Every time I restarted my computer, it would just do it. I don't know what happened. Just thing got busted immediately after I bought it. So thankfully, I like buying stuff on Amazon because of their I'm not gonna say it was lenient. I mean, this is a piece of garbage, and I didn't want to own it anymore. So I just returned it within the return policy, and I haven't bought anything else. I need to get something, even if it's just another C920 for the bench. Well, ideally, I would like to have another DSLR or a mirrorless camera, but even if I bought a budget used one, you're still talking about, $500 for me to like the output, it has to be like a Sony A6100 or something, which is they're like $300 or $400 on eBay, plus a lens. So I don't know. Okay, what time we got? Okay, 10:50. Okay, so there's the Raspberry Pi installed. Looks pretty good. Now we've got to do the DAC. The headers for the IRQ. Oh, we can do the headers, I guess. That would make the board less floppy. Yeah, well, Belmont, I can't buy expensive TVs really, because my son is still at an age where he just is, yeah, makes a mess of things. So he ruined a TV once by throwing a marble at it. So I cannot afford to have nice things. Well, it depends on what it is, but I can't have nice TVs right now in this stage of my life. There'll be plenty of time in the future for better technology for TVs. Don't worry about that. It feels like it's been a very long time that displays and TVs and things have been just mediocre until like the last 4 or 5 years. Like I like my OLED, my C2 OLED. It's just it's too big for this table, for this desk. I wish they made a smaller one, or if there was a cheaper, smaller alternative. There really isn't for that price. There's other, I think like Gigabyte or some other company makes these nice OLED screens that are smaller for monitors, but they're like the price of the OLED, like, or for the C2. Anchor Power Conf C200 2K is nice, especially for 70 C8. It's Canadian. What is the Anchor Power Conf? Oh, you're talking about a camera. Oh, okay, I'll have to look into it. Yeah, I mean, there's other things too. I mean, I'm really outgrowing this room. I'm outgrowing my house, but I can't really afford to move. Okay, so that's the pin header. We're going to populate that with the pin header for the different settings, so the IRQ and DMA settings, jumpers. So we're going to populate that later. But now we have to populate these to. Oh, maybe I also have to do this one, or is this for something else? Let me check the photos. Okay, IRQ DMA jumpers, the UART the transmit UART. Okay, so let's do that. I'm kind of going a little rogue with the pin headers. I guess I wanted to see what the BOM. So the BOM includes this set for the DAC and J6. But the DAC needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So how many pins do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 there. Did the DAC itself come with pin headers? It did not. So you might have to buy, if you're following this build, you might have to buy pin headers. But I mean, you probably should have them anyways, because they're pretty helpful for a lot of things. Like I just have strips hanging out. They're not that expensive. Okay. Okay, we're almost out of time, but that's okay. I'm going to finish tonight. Okay, so now let's solder the pin headers. I think I'm going to need... yeah, so according to the BOM, if you follow the... I don't even know if I think I follow the BOM for these pin headers. If you do that, then you're going to run out. Ah. Sorry, you guys can't see, but it's just the normal soldering that I was doing. I'm just gonna do one side and make sure oh no, it fell out. That was dumb. Well, I checked it too quickly and it fell out. Okay. So you wanna make sure they're straight up and down. I turned my autofocus off, so it's gonna be blurry, but. Okay, so now I need some more pin header for the bottom part. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Ooh, here we go. Oh, so close, it's 8. The pre-cut piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeet! Oh, that flew around my room. Okay, so sometimes you can get your pieces to help each other out. Like this will keep this header up and down while you solder it. C200 is on sale for $48. Ah. The DAC needs the 6 pins on the bottom and just the 4 along the side of the headphone jack. Oh, so is it bad that I do this, or they're just not connected to anything? Oh, okay. So there's only a couple of spots. Got it. Okay. Let me see is that you have that written in here? Oh, okay. Headers for the 6 along the bottom, along with 4 for reinforcement. Oh, I see the picture. Okay. Yep. In the doc, or in the GitHub, it does only show that you do the 4 there. Okay, so hopefully it's not going to ruin anything by me populating the whole side. Got it. This Kato fume extractor works pretty well. It's a little loud, especially for this stream, but it works well. I don't think it's that expensive on Amazon. And it's like a nice shade of yellow, if you care about things like that. Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Those extra pins aren't connected to anything. Okay. All right, so I think we're almost done. I think all we need to do is the MIDI port and the caps, the big caps. So that was the pin header gone. J1. What was J1? Oh, that big. This was J1. This big header. Nice gold header, too. Here's the jack. So what do we have left? Oh, the caps. Okay. Ooh, this is nice. I like the... So they're not quite lined up, but I'll show you that. I didn't mention this before, but when you're trying to solder and stuff's uneasy, like it's not level underneath it, you can always solder one of them, one leg. Come on. Solder one leg, wait for it to cool, and then kind of just hold onto the piece and push it down like that. So that makes it go flat to the board, and then you can solder the rest of the pins. Okay, that is the MIDI port output, some kind of TRS situation. All right, it's time for the last two pieces, and then we need the bracket. We'll go over the bracket in a second. Don't forget to solder the top side of the DAC. You know, I didn't check. Did you say to check the... Oh, yeah, okay. Did you say to check the soldering on the DAC too? I completely didn't do that. Whoops. I know that you mentioned somewhere in the instructions to check that the jumpers were soldered correctly, but now that's on the bottom. Yikes. Well, if something doesn't work, I can always desolder that, which sucks, but... Or actually, I can just go back to the footage and verify before I do anything. Cool. Okay, so now the caps. This is what is this? Oh, the jack. Okay. What was this? C1 and C2? Oh yeah, okay. Okay. So now these ones are radial. So you got to find the negative side. So usually the white mark on the cap indicates the negative side. And that lines up with the white solder mask side on the board. So you just line the white up to the white part, shove it in there, and then do one of these to keep it there. And then you can solder it. And then you can cut it. Just cut the legs short. All right, last one. Oh, these don't look soldered. Maybe these pins need a lot of solder. Or it could just be the Enig is being a butt. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so the other one was what, C2? So negative to negative. Nice. What kind of caps are these? These are crazy. I like the red. Okay, last piece. Okay, now we can cut it. And then I'm not going to do the metal bracket. If you look at the BOM, there is a metal generic blank generic metal a PCI slot bracket that you can buy, and then you have to drill out the holes yourself. But if you've got a 3D printer, Todd Gill, Retrofrog, designed this 3D printed bracket. So I printed mine in this gray ABS. The only thing I don't have is screws. I have screws, I just don't have them up here. So I have some downstairs in the basement. I don't know if this is sized for a specific size. Like I have these, are any of these the right size? That might work. So this is a M3 screw for CD-ROM, I guess. Let's see, how far does that stick out? That might be perfect. All right, let's try that. Where's my little... Oh no, I brought it downstairs. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, I gotta do a little backup screwdriver. Ah, M3 computer case screws will fit. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, so let's put these. See, these are CD-ROM. I got this nice screw assortment that has screw sizes related to computer stuff. So like motherboards, standoffs and things. Oh god, this is gonna be hard because this is not magnetized. Well, I guess I could do this, can't I? Nice. This is not the ideal screwdriver. All I need to do is get started on that side. Ooh, I have these nice little washers too that I could have used, but that's all right. So if you're ever trying to start threads, oh, that other thing fell out. If you're ever trying to start threads in a 3D print, I try to push down, like actually add pressure as you're screwing, so that you're kind of like, you're not giving the chance for the screw to stop going forward and threading and like ruining the threads that it just made. So just try to like push down in your screwdriver hand. This screwdriver is not cutting it. Oh, but I wish that iFixit would sponsor me. I don't make videos anymore, but where is this stupid little... I have this other little screwdriver. All right, give it the old college try again. Ugh, I'm just stripping this. Well, that's annoying. I don't know where my other screwdriver is. Okay, well, you get the point. It's on there okay enough. So yeah, you can use M3 screws or CD-ROM screws. I guess mainboard threads are the same. They're both M3 or standoffs. So if you've got those kind of screws, then you can just use that. The only problem is the heads in these screws are kind of wide, so I don't think they'll touch there, but yeah. All right, so that is the build portion. I guess I might clean this board up. I might get the flux residue off of it. But next stream, I'm gonna flash the firmware, and we're gonna try it out in the Pentium, the Gateway machine. I would also like to try. I don't know. Oh, I've heard that the 8-bit DOE wireless arcade stick thing. It might work well with direct input or whatever X input. So maybe we could try that, and we can actually use a controller. Although I have a game port, but yeah, it'd be nice to try some other controllers. The video froze. No, why you do this? Well, you guys got the point of me screwing it in. Why is it doing this, I wonder? Gosh. So yeah, now I have to restart the cam link. And then poke the bear. Ugh, well. Huh. I don't know what's happening with that. I'm just going to call it. Okay, well, that's annoying. All right, yeah, so that's the build. We still have to flash the firmware, which I think that we can do through the Raspberry Pi. I don't think we have to do any other crazy flashing or anything, which is really nice. It's nice when you don't have to go through a separate or like a specialized hook up some, headers to it or something and go off to another board to flash it. I think you can just go through this and copy the firmware over, which is really easy. So we'll do that next time. We'll hook it up to the Gateway and we'll try it out. I'll have to rip out the Ensoniq Soundstage Opus. That's what I've got. So I'll have to rip that out and we'll try this one. So, yep, look forward to that. That'll be on Sunday. And then, I have to sneeze. Bless me. Yeah, I'm not sure what's next. I would like to do another video, I guess, not an updated video, on the IBM. Do you plan on a Sunday stream? Yep. Yeah, I'll be finishing this on Sunday. Actually, wait, that's not close to Christmas, is it? Oh, it's the day before. Yeah, I should be around, and actually that's my birthday, 24th. So that'll be a cool day. We'll get this working. Yeah. I have to I have to doofus. I have to order the bill of materials for the version 2. So Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that all these. I noticed here there's some pins that are not 100% soldered. So, and up here. So yeah. All right. Thanks everyone. Thanks Ian for designing this and putting it out there for everybody. And we'll yeah, check it out on Sunday. Bye everybody.